Welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Nolin Ebel Ame, and my sign language interpreter is Josiah Abdullahi. Let's begin with the headlines. President Tinubu says his administration embarks on profound economic and structural reforms to overcome difficulties as he clocks 3 years in power. U.S. top diplomat Hexet attends defense summit as Chinese leaders skip. Economic Commission takes major step towards strengthening regional economic integration and private sector participation. And here is the news. President Tinubu says his administration, since assumed office, has embarked on profound economic and structural reforms to overcome difficulties. This is by surmounting fiscal pressures, unsustainable fuel subsidies, declining revenues, exchange rate distortions, rising debt servicing costs, insecurity in several parts of the country, energy supply constraints, and declining public confidence in institutions. The situation demanded urgent and courageous action. Difficult but necessary decisions were taken to stabilize the economy and prevent a deeper national crisis. He said there is now visible progress and economic growth as the economy is now more competitive and better positioned for sustainable growth than it was in 2023. He said critical infrastructure projects are advancing at an unprecedented scale. Over 2,700 kilometers of highways and major roads are under construction, reconstruction, or rehabilitation, including the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway, the Abuja-Kaduna-Zaria-Kano Road, the East-West Road, and many rural access routes. Rail modernization projects are ongoing to improve connectivity, logistics, and economic integration across the Federation. In the oil and gas sector, the reforms have attracted billions of dollars in fresh investment from the international oil companies that had shunned the country. The $5 billion NLNG Train 7 project is nearing completion to boost LNG production capacity, exports, and dividends. For years, the power sector suffered from debt, underinvestment, and uncertainty, but his administration is expanding transmission infrastructure, investing in renewable energy, and strengthening the national grid because no modern economy can grow in darkness. He said agricultural interventions have supported millions of farmers by improving seedlings, fertilizers, mechanization, and irrigation, and by expanding access to finance and markets. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund has provided over 1.5 million students with access to higher education, disbursing more than 282 billion naira to ensure that no willing student is denied access due to financial hardship. The ECOWAS Commission has taken a major step towards strengthening regional economic integration and private sector participation with a high-level working visit to the chairman of the ECOWAS Business Council, EBC, Aliko Dangote. The delegation was led by Commissioner of Economic Affairs and Agriculture, Dr. Kalilu Saila, alongside his counterpart Commissioner, Internal Services, Dr. Habib Yaya Bappa, among others. The visit focused on advancing the operationalization of the ECOWAS Business Council, a strategic platform designed to strengthen private sector participation in the implementation of the ECOWAS regional market and accelerate economic integration across West Africa. Elsewhere, U.S. Secretary of State Pete Hegseth attends meetings on the sidelines of the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore. The three-day summit is Asia's premier defense forum, bringing together top officials from around 45 nations. Francis Udojo tells us more.
Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth is the headline speaker at Asia's premier defense summit ongoing, but China's top officials were not expected despite weighty questions like Taiwan and the war in Iran. Beijing's defense minister came to skip the three-day Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore for the second year running, which analysts viewed as a sign of China's rising power. Yet, the forum that brings together top officials from around 45 nations has historically provided a setting for debate as well as quite and high-profile diplomacy. Defense Minister Dong Jun's absence means no meeting there with Hegseth, as China warns the U.S. over its involvement with Taiwan, and Washington seeks an end to the Mid-East war. The Middle East was the source of 57% of China's direct seaborne crude imports in 2025, 5.9 million barrels per day, maritime tracking firm Kepler said. Hegseth's second trip to the Shangri-La Dialogue comes after U.S. President Donald Trump's visit to China in May, and his subsequent suggestion that U.S. arms sales to Taiwan could be used as a bargaining chip with Beijing. Meanwhile, the United States and Iran have made good progress towards a ceasefire extension deal, but President Donald Trump is not ready to approve it, says U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance.
There are a couple of issues on the nuclear stuff, the highly enriched stockpile, and also the question of enrichment. So, we're going back and forth with them. We do think they're negotiating, at least so far, in good faith, and we're making some progress.
U.S. sources told the media earlier that the two sides had reached agreement on a Memorandum of Understanding MOU to prolong the truce for 60 days. There was no immediate reaction from Iran. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Francis Udojo also reports that World Health Organization WHO has announced first confirmed Ebola patient recovery since the outbreak began in the DR Congo.
World Health Organization WHO head Tedros Adhanom arrived in the capital Kinshasa 2 weeks after the outbreak of the highly contagious hemorrhagic fever was declared. He had been due to travel to Ituri, a remote northeastern province that is the epicenter of the country's 17th Ebola outbreak, but the trip has been pushed back by a day. The DRC, a vast nation of more than 100 million people, is one of the poorest countries in the world, and for more than 3 decades has been plagued by conflict from myriad armed groups in its mineral-rich east. There have been at least 1,077 suspected cases of Ebola since the outbreak was declared on May 15, including 246 deaths. The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Africa CDC said the DRC has limited capacity to conduct laboratory tests to confirm the transmission of cases. The virus is already present in 3 provinces and in neighboring Uganda, where 7 confirmed infected, 1 death, have been recorded. However, the WHO announced that a patient had recovered, left the hospital, and was discharged into the community after 2 negative tests. WHO Technical Officer on Viral Hemorrhagic Fevers, Anas Legand, while briefing the media in Geneva, said WHO is expecting more people to recover, believing they can do more by scaling up, optimize intensive care. Ebola, which is passed on through close contact and bodily fluids, has killed more than 15,000 people in Africa over the past 50 years. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Still on health back home, the federal government has intensified efforts to improve emergency healthcare delivery in Nigeria with the inauguration of the National Emergency Medical Services and Ambulance System, NEMSAS, alongside the Impact Project by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Abuja. The initiative, unveiled at the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare Federal Secretariat Complex, is designed to strengthen emergency response services, particularly in rural communities, while also improving maternal transportation systems in 15 states with high burdens of maternal and neonatal mortality. Olusheye Adeagbo reports.
Communities. Access to emergency medical care remains a critical challenge, often determining whether patients live or die. Delays in transportation, weak referral systems, inadequate ambulance services, and limited pre-hospital care continue to contribute to preventable deaths across the country.
And for the good of Nigeria, talk this nuance on your behalf. Ambulances are going down to the rural areas and there is station at the primary healthcare center, where there are drivers that are trained and nurses to accompany the ambulances anytime they need to move.
So this support provided by the Work Ban Impact Project is to front-load these 15 states with assets. Juxtaposed to this, we have other projects under the national program that will support in resourcing communities to able to sustain these initiatives. We're in conversation with Algon.
What you have here is not just the Kakana PEP ambulance, but they're actually equipped to provide some emergency services to the woman on site along the way. They also have communication, telephone inside, so it's all about saving under 5 children, saving pregnant women, saving the elderly that need adequate healthcare services.
For the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isaac Salako, and other stakeholders, the intervention represents a bold national investment.
Further reaffirm your administration's commitment to building a resilient, people-centered health system that delivers hope, dignity, and quality healthcare for all Nigerians. In the last 3 years, under the able leadership of Mr. President, the federal government has continued a sure-footed journey towards universal health coverage.
Beyond the ceremonial commissioning, expectations remain high among healthcare professionals and citizens alike that the program will deliver accessible, efficient, and life-saving emergency services for millions of Nigerians. In Abuja, Olusheye Adeagbo, NTA News.
In the meantime, as part of its corporate social responsibility towards quality healthcare delivery, Leisure Hospital Abuja has conducted a medical outreach at MD Abubakar Police Barrack, benefiting more than 500 residents. The initiative aligns with the federal government's goal of achieving universal health coverage in Nigeria by improving access to essential healthcare services for underserved communities. Rukayan Jaid reports.
The medical outreach, a collaborative effort between Leisure Hospital and Police HMO, is aimed at improving the health condition of residents of the MD Abubakar Police Barracks in DADA, Abuja. During the exercise, beneficiaries receive free medical consultations, health screening and treatment for common illness, such as malaria, typhoid, hepatitis, as well as HIV testing, among other healthcare services. Director of Administration, Leisure Hospital, Sharon Suleiman, says the initiative is expected to address some of the health challenges facing members of the barracks community.
So this is an opportunity to give the public or the people something good for their health. They know they're not paying anything for this. They're getting some of the basic tests here, and then medications, everything here for free. They see the doctor for free, they do some lab tests for free, and then they also get medications for free.
Some beneficiaries express gratitude to Leisure Hospital.
We would like to appreciate them because they are doing a very good work. is no kind of health people that will come out for the such outreach, but for their coming is more encouraging for other less privileged.
So we have a lot of people who are less privileged. When we go to hospitals, even NHS, we don't get what we want. But what we are seeing here today, honestly, is overwhelming.
Like me, I'm so happy, I'm so excited to be among the people that benefit.
With specialized personnel and modern medical equipment, Leisure Hospital says it remains committed to providing quality and affordable healthcare services to Nigerians. Established in 2023 and opened in May 2025, the hospital is located at number 24, Kitwe Street, Zone 4, Abuja. Rukaya Najait, NTA News.
We take a break now. More stories when we return. Stay tuned. Thank you for being there. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, says it is blacklisting airing companies over inappropriate timing of delivery of meals to pilgrims and other actions inimical to pilgrims' comfort. The National Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of NACON, Ambassador Ismail Abba Yusuf, says this shortly after a first-hand tour across some camps in Minna.
For a few days now, there have been growing concerns over poor timing in the delivery of meals to some pilgrims' camps in Minna, and the chairman, NACON Ambassador Yusuf, undertook an assessment tour where he made a bold statement.
We've taken it up with the Saudi authorities. We are blacklisting the caterer. We are also going to get refund of the unserved and poorly served meals for the pilgrims. If we get the refund before they leave, we're going to give it to them individually. Or if we don't, before they leave, we'll hand it over to their secretaries. But we have commitment and support of the Saudi authorities that will get the refund.
He said no individual agency would be allowed to undermine the reforms already being implemented to reposition the Commission for effective and efficient service delivery.
We are automating payments to eradicate cases of corruption. We are going to also eliminate agents. We're talking directly with the Saudi authorities. They are going to recommend to us service providers, reputable ones, from whom we will choose. That way we eliminate agents. If we eliminate agents, we see a window and a possibility of bringing down the Hajj cost for Nigerians, thereby enabling more Nigerians to go on Hajj.
The chairman mentioned the licensing of 5 operational clinics, deployment of highly resourceful medical personnel, and sensitization of pilgrims as top-notch initiatives. In another development, the Joint National Assembly Committee on Hajj, led by its chairman Ali Ndume, assured of his strong legislative backing to end the unfair treatment against pilgrims.
I personally want to commend the chairman of the Hajj Commission for within this short time of his appointment has been able to put in this, and especially in the area. But there are areas of improvement, especially in the spacing. It's so tight. So we are looking forward to having a situation where there can be improvement on that. But let the pilgrims or Nigerians know that too. The challenge of this particular place, from my experience for the past years, is the fact the space is restricted.
The committee commended NACON and pleaded with pilgrims to exercise patience as innovative and workable solutions are in the offing to improve services in the nearest future. From Minna, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Nigeria's Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo SAN, has been formally installed as African champion of the African Development Bank's $7 billion Integrated Aviation Transformation Program for Africa, IATP. This was during the AFDB's annual meeting in Brazzaville, Congo. The African Development Bank applauded Nigeria's leadership and vision under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda and key policy reforms in aviation as major milestone for development. The IATP is a continent-wide platform designed to modernize Africa's aviation ecosystem, mobilize private institutional and concessional capital, and close the gap where African airlines account for less than 3% of global air traffic, despite Africa holding nearly 18% of world population. While at the dialogue in Brazzaville in his new capacity as champion, the minister unveiled President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda for aviation and highlighted Nigeria's newly approved aircraft leasing company as a model other African nations can replicate. The President of the African Development Bank, AFDB, pledges commitment to IATP's success across Africa, with Nigeria as a key focus. The Nigerian Institution of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Forum have called for urgent energy efficiency measures to address rising electricity demand and improve power sustainability in the country. At a forum held in Abuja with the theme Energy Audits for Reduced Demand in Nigeria, experts at the event noted that proper energy audits in homes, industries and public institutions would help identify areas of energy waste, reduce operational costs and ease pressure on the national grid. The forum stressed the need for Nigerians to embrace energy-saving technologies, efficient appliances, and regular monitoring of electricity consumption. They also urged government, agencies, and private organizations to invest more in renewable energy and modern power management systems.
Even enough to meet. You putting on this equipment and leaving them is a waste. Why do we need to waste energy in a country where, you know, we are unable to generate even enough to meet our local demand? So these are very critical things that we must work towards stopping. In fact, efficient management of energy has become very critical because of even the rate at which energy is sold now. You know how much it is for the band A, band B, band C, and band D. So it becomes critical that we manage our energy properly so that, one, you get to pay less, two, you get to prevent fire incidences, and three, you get to make available energy that you are not using for others to use.
The habit of losing the AC on, we are advising to please switch them off to reduce the cost. If your cost is not your own problem, but please help us reduce the carbon monoxide you are reducing to the environment so that to make the world a better place for everybody to live in.
Reports that the forum is a monthly gathering of members also featured technical presentations and discussions on strategies for improving energy efficiency across different sectors of the economy. Talking security now, troops of the Joint Task Force Northeast, Operation Hadinkai, have rescued 92 kidnapped victims from Boko Haram ISWAP terrorists along the Buratai-Komoya Road, Biu local government area of Borno State on Saturday, 23rd May 2026. A statement by the Media Information Officer, Operation Hadinkai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, says the rescued victims, comprising 52 males, 33 females and 7 children, along with 8 vehicles, were apprehended. Troops also detonated 3 IEDs along the Bulazarma Mangari general area. Enejo Adiku has a sports update.
Here are some trending sports stories today. Nigeria and Jamaica go head-to-head for the 2026 Unity Cup title as the final is set for Saturday at the Valley, home of Charlton Athletic in London. The Super Eagles earned their spot with a 2-0 win over Zimbabwe in the first semi. On his senior debut, Millwall winger Femi Aziz bagged a brilliant brace. Jamaica, the Reggae Boys, followed by beating India 2-0 in the second semi. These two have a fierce rivalry. In In the last year's edition, Nigeria edged Jamaica 5-4 on penalties after a 2-2 draw. The 4-team Unity Cup is also a key testing ground for coaches to try new players and tactics ahead of competitive matches. Switching to European football, after hosting the 2023 Europa League final, Hungary's capital Budapest gets the Champions League final for the first time at the Puskás Arena. The match kicks off Saturday, May 30, 2026, closing out the 71st session of Europe's elite club competition. Holders PSG are chasing history to become the second team in the Champions League era to defend their title after Real Madrid. Now to the 2026 French Open, a massive shock. World number 1 Yannick Sinner is out in the second round. The favorite, seen as the most dominant on clay since Rafael Nadal in 2009, lost to the Argentines Juan Manuel Cerundolo in 5 sets under scorching Paris heat. Sinner led 2-0 and was up 5-1 in the third. Then a stunning turnaround as he looked sluggish and dejected, dropped 11 straight points, called for the trainer, and eventually fell 3-6, 2-6, 7-5, 6-1, 6-1. Cerundolo ranked 56th in the world. The French Open remains the only major missing from Sinner's 4 Grand Slam titles. And that does it for Sports Update. I am Enojo Adiku.
Before we go, a quick look at Saturday's weather prospects. The weather report there concludes our news package at this time. Thank you so much for being part of it. I am Nolene Ebel Ame, and my sign language interpreter has been Josiah Abdullahi. Bye for now.